Good afternoon and welcome to today's episode of NWCR's Removing Our Liberal Blindfold for this, the 18th day of June in the year of our Lord 2026. The media in New Mexico would get away with murder if it wasn't for conservative outlets like the one in today's episode. From the Pinyon Post News comes this one. Haaland promises kids will read sooner if she wins as New Mexico ranks dead last. If the left would just stop trying so hard to destroy things that are beautiful, we might have a good nation and a nice New Mexico again. They won't, though. Power to them is more important than a great nation or a great state. Far-left Democrat Deb Haaland is being promoted by national Democrats as the candidate who will help New Mexico children, quote, read sooner, unquote, even as the state remains buried at the bottom of the nation in education after years of Democrat rule in Santa Fe. The Democratic Governors Association posted a clip from Haaland's MS Now interview, writing, quote, Deb Haaland is running for governor of New Mexico so kids can read sooner, families can get health care they need, and life can be more affordable for every New Mexican, unquote. But the short clip, which appears tightly edited, offers another reminder of Haaland's halting and awkward public speaking style. Critics have long noted that Haaland often leans heavily on scripted lines, biography, and broad talking points rather than clear, detailed answers, a problem that followed her during her time in Washington and during congressional hearings while she served as Joe Biden's Secretary of the Interior. In the clip, Haaland attempted to frame herself as the most experienced candidate in the race. Quote, when I was secretary, of course, I have a record of accomplishment. I managed a department with 70,000 career staff and an $18 billion annual budget. I'm the only one with experience like that who is running for governor, and I want to use that experience and knowledge for the benefit of New Mexico, unquote. For Haaland's allies, that is supposed to be the pitch. She ran a massive federal agency, so she is ready to run New Mexico. But for conservatives, her tenure at Interior looked far more ceremonial than impressive. Haaland became a national symbol for the Biden administration's identity politics and climate agenda. But when pressed in congressional hearings on basic policy questions involving energy, public lands, and federal land management, she often struggled to give direct, coherent answers. That matters because Haaland is now asking voters to trust her with New Mexico's education system, health care access, affordability crisis, and public safety problems. In the MS Now clip, Haaland continued, quote, I was also a congresswoman, so I know how the federal government works, unquote. She then said she is ready to work for New Mexicans so kids can read sooner, so people can get the health care when they need it, so life can be more affordable for every New Mexican, regardless of where they live. The line about children reading sooner is especially rich. New Mexico's education system is already in crisis. After years of Democrat control of the governor's office, legislature, and education bureaucracy, the state remains at or near the bottom nationally. Recent national reading data shows New Mexico 4th graders and 8th graders performing well below national averages, with only about 1 in 5 students at or above proficient in reading. That is not a messaging problem. That is a generational failure. Democrats have had every lever of power in Santa Fe. They have increased spending. They have expanded bureaucracy. They have pushed woke education priorities. And yet, New Mexico children still cannot read at acceptable levels. Now national Democrats are packaging Haaland as the answer. But the DGA clip may have created the opposite impression. Instead of showing a dynamic leader with a specific plan to turn around New Mexico schools, it showed Haaland leaning on the vague promises and federal credentials. There were no specifics in the clip about how Haaland would improve reading scores. No explanation of what she would do differently from outgoing Democrat Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham. No plan for fixing a broken education system controlled by Democrats for years. Instead, voters heard the familiar Haaland formula, mention the Biden administration, cite the size of federal departments she nominally led, and promise broad outcomes without telling New Mexicans how she would actually deliver them. For conservative New Mexicans, the irony is hard to miss. A candidate whose public interviews often require careful packaging is being sold as the leader who will help children read sooner. A Democrat backed by the same political machine that presided over New Mexico's education collapse is now promising to fix it. And a former Biden cabinet secretary with a record of vague, halting answers is asking voters to believe she can competitively manage the state. Haaland is not running away from the Biden-Haaland record. She is running on it. The same goes for New Mexico Democrats' education record. They own it. The low reading scores, the national embarrassment, the decades of excuses, and the failure to produce basic results all happened under their watch. The DGA wants voters to see Haaland as a historic candidate with federal experience and a feel-good promise to help kids read sooner. But New Mexicans may see something else. Another far-left Democrat wrapped in national media polish, offering scripted slogans, Biden-era credentials, and no real evidence that anything would change. Haaland's Republican competitor is former Rio Rancho Mayor Greg Hull, who has years of executive experience. And now we'll remove that liberal blindfold. The left has pretty much ruled New Mexico almost uninterrupted for generations now, and they think they can continue by pushing their same things, the things that people should know are not true. But the sad part is they keep getting reelected or elected because the media in New Mexico are liberal liars, just like Deb Haaland is. From the Bible it says from Acts 5 verse 29, "But Peter and the apostles answered, 'We must obey God rather than any human authority.'" This verse is a powerful reminder that divine law takes precedence when secular powers command you do evil, as they do in New Mexico. James Wilson once said, "Without liberty, law loses its nature and its name and becomes oppression. Without law, liberty also loses its nature and its name and becomes licentiousness." People have to start voting for the right things and not for what the crooked politicians say they must. We are destroying our nation by not doing that. New Mexico is included in this destruction. Thank you all for watching, and as an old friend of mine always said, we shall not be ruled. NWCR is heard through Conservative Nation Media, or CNM, from behind that silver microphone of freedom with the voice of reason in this increasingly unreasonable world, where America always wins. Please subscribe to my updates that are now put on Rumble, BitChute, YouTube, and Facebook if you want to know what is really going on here in America. The lying, lamestream liberal media will not tell you the truth, as they are infected with TDS with no common sense. Stop listening to CNN, MS Now, and others like them because they don't know the truth, and if they tell it, they've made a mistake. We must start using common sense again and following the truth, because without those, America's demise is assured. Have a good day, and God bless you all.